cooling breeze. I've got the artificial cooling breeze on here. Just give it another minute or two, see if we've got anybody else joining us this morning, and then we can get started with the yoga practice I've planned to share with you this morning. If you've got anything you'd like to let me know, you could always pop me a PM. I've got my messenger open on another device, so I'll see that come through. And if there's anything that you want to share that's not of a personal nature, you can pop it in the chat. I've been mostly teaching via Zoom this year, so Facebook Live is a little bit different for me, but not too bad. But the glasses definitely help. I had to go and find my glasses. Much easier to see what's popping up on the screen. And I'd like to thank Leanne for inviting me this morning to share yoga with you. Leanne and I met last year at a training through our teacher, Ian Finn, and we've kept in touch ever since. So that was a fortuitous meeting of a really lovely person for me to have in my life. So I'm honoured to be here this morning and sharing yoga with you here. I think we'll get started. I have a practice for you this morning that is a practice for helping with accepting and embracing change. And heaven knows we've all had a lot of change this year, but the changes keep coming. And even though I'm sure we've got better at rolling with them, perhaps this time of the year it gets a little bit wearing on us. We're tired, it's perhaps getting hotter if you're in the southern hemisphere. So it's good to sort of have something that can help us through. So this practice, I hope, will do that for you. We start with grounding, move through some sort of what will be our warm-up that has some movements in it that help us feel our way a little bit, perhaps with not only the practice but the change. And then moving through a flow which is grounding and helps us with determination, detached determination, and helps perhaps us build a bit of courage or feel our courage and our power. Moving through then another stage of letting go and surrendering, and then getting a little bit enthusiastic and allowing ourselves to be emotionally open, and following that a little bit more, and then letting things all soak in, the culmination of the practice, and just bringing it all together and having that time just to be and to contemplate and let those changes and the practice sink in. I would like to start standing this morning. I may be oddball in this approach, I'm not sure. But we have hopefully all had a good night's sleep, in which case we probably don't need to lie down again. And also I'm a bit of a believer in learning and practicing grounding wherever we are and however we are. And often we can't do that by just taking a seat or stretching ourselves out on the floor. Sometimes we need to be able to center ourselves and find that inner grounding queue at a supermarket, or wherever we find ourselves. So I'm going to suggest we come with the feet hip width apart this morning, and you might want to start by rolling out the shoulders. However feels good, one at a time, forward, back, both together. And then perhaps a little stretch through the neck, very gently. Just a bit of side to side, maybe some forward and back, lifting the head towards the sky and back down to tuck the chin to the chest. Anything else here that feels like a good way to stretch things out before asking your body to become still in mountain pose. Take a moment or two over your mountain pose, finding that sense of grounding through the feet. Almost as if you're connected to the earth with roots growing out of the bottom of the feet, finding length and lightness through the body, tall out of the crown of the head, and either closing your eyes or lowering your gaze so that you can begin to turn your focus inward. Observing the shape that you've made, just conscious of that connection to the earth. And then perhaps journeying upwards, observing any sensations in the body this morning. Perhaps sensations that may be energetic activity, pulsing or buzzing. Just under the surface of the skin, or perhaps anything else the body has to tell you this morning, anything you might need to be mindful of as you practice, anything that perhaps you can start to let go of, tension or tightness in the body. You can start to relax now that you're aware of it, and can relax and release a little more through practice this morning. Coming now to the space of your mind and simply observing your state of mind this morning, whether there's a lot of thought traffic passing through or a little less traffic, and knowing that you have the choice at any time as to whether you engage with thoughts as they arise or allow them to pass through the mind like a cloud on the sky. We'll come back later, perhaps at a better time to engage. Coming now to the breath and simply observing the breath without judgment as it's flowing naturally. Perhaps just a very gentle flow in and out through the nose. Observing the sensation of the breath as it's drawn in through the nostrils, perhaps a cool touch to the air. And the air quite a lot warmer as you exhale. Noticing where the movement is created in the body by this relaxed and natural breath. It might be a very subtle rise and fall of the chest, or it might be a little more. Start to take some deeper breaths now. Long, slow and deep through the nose. Feeling the belly rise. Slow and complete exhalation, belly relaxes again. No tension in this long, slow, deep breath, just finding an ease. Perhaps a rhythm, an evenness to inhalation and exhalation. Take 2 more long, slow, deep breaths. Before allowing the breath to return to an unrestricted flow once more. Perhaps bringing hands together at heart center, Anjali Mudra. I'd like to invite you to set an intention for your practice this morning. And I have a suggested intention you may choose to complement this morning's practice. You're welcome to set your own and repeat any chosen intention silently 3 times. Suggested intention is, I am open to change and in the flow. I am open to change and in the flow. You could repeat that once more silently, if that is your intention this morning. You could keep your eyes closed for a little longer, or you could open them as we start to bring some gentle movement into practice, starting to warm up with a circle of joy, interlacing the fingers, breathing in, lift the elbows to shoulder or chin height. Exhale, press away. You can round through the spine, tuck chin to chest. Breathing in, let the arms rise a little way or all the way overhead. And exhaling, Release the arms either out to the side or forward if you don't have so much space. Bringing them behind to clasp. Deep breath in and grow yourself tall, but really be rooted down to the earth. And as you exhale, stretch away, taking the arms back, however feels good. Bringing hands back to heart center. And again, breathing the arms to reach forward or out to the side, palms touch. Exhale, side stretch right. Inhale, come through center. Exhale, side stretch left. So we are bending with the breeze, bending with whatever life throws at us. Through our yoga practice, inhale, coming back in, and exhale, come to stretch the other way, coming back to center, and exhaling, swan dive forward, either arms wide or come through the midline to forward fold. Taking a ragdoll, bringing opposite arms together. Sorry, opposite hands to elbows, that's what I meant. And melting belly to thighs, letting every part of the upper body melt towards the earth. Ragdoll, a beautiful place to come to when you need to reset. You're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, agitated. Then this one can be a great pose to have in your toolkit. You can stay still here or swing or sway or shake or nod the head. Anything that floats your boat. Maybe you're on a boat, not sure. And let's release the hands down, fingertips to the mat. And take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold again. And either bring the arms wide or forward, start to scoop your way up. Palms touch and hands come back through heart center. Taking another circle of joy, an almost full one. Interlace, lift, breathing in. Exhaling, press away, round and tuck. Breathing in, rise. Shoulders relax. Exhale, take the hands around to clasp. Take your breath in, ground down, yet grow tall. And as you exhale, you can stretch away through the arms. And then bring the hands back to the sacrum, just to rest, arms long. Take a breath in and come into a baby chair now. Just sending the hips back a little way, bending at the knees. And if you like, you can stretch the arms away as well. Baby steps, helpful when we're embracing change. Not all the way into a full-on chair right now, but a baby chair. Keeping the toes grounded. Last breath. And keeping the hands clasped if it's okay for you, but relaxing the arms back a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And with your exhale, forward fold. Melting the belly back to the thighs. And coming down to fold. If you like, you can stretch the arms away as if you're going to flip them overhead. And a couple of breaths here. And with your exhale, if you have the arms away, you can start to bring them back to the sacrum and sweep them through, coming into chair pose. Now that we've taken some baby steps, having a go at the full pose or starting to embrace the change that is upon us if we're thinking about what this practice is about. Perhaps feeling your power in this pose, it's a mighty pose. And I feel quite powerful here. As you inhale, rise, bring the palms together, and you can float them down through heart center. If you're not at the top of your mat, just step forward and come to the top of your mat, to your mountain pose. Let's make sure I fit on the screen there. And just get settled here. We're coming through a bit of a ladder flow now, starting to get a little more grounded and experiencing that feeling of determination that we can build with some of our stronger standing poses, detached from any expectation though. Let's take the arms forward or out to the side wherever you have room, and swan dive or fold through the midline. Fingers to mat or shins. Inhale, halfway lift and fold, and step your right foot back now. Come into crescent pose, Anjaneyasana, low or high, your choice, whichever works best for you this morning. And let's just pause here in our Anjaneyasana. Take a moment to feel into your foundations, to get strong and steady. And one more breath. And then bring the palms together, hands come through heart center, hinging forward, fingertips either side of the front foot, a little rock back, and step yourself to forward fold on the mat. Let's take 3 breaths here. Perhaps feeling the spine lengthen a little more with each exhalation. Crown of the head melting towards the mat. With your next breath in, halfway lift and fold. Stepping left foot back. Again, crescent pose, high or low, knee to the mat if it works for you. A little bit better this morning. And again, taking some time to get grounded and steady in your foundations. Just another breath. Then bring the palms together. Exhale, float the hands down, hinge forward, fingertips to mat. A little rock back and step to forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. And reverse swan dive or scoot the arms forward, rising. Palms touch, exhale, hands come through heart center. Ready to go again. Taking the arms forward or wide, palms touch. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. And step your right foot back again. Crescent pose again, high or low. See where you feel right to be this morning. Just another breath here, really pressing to the ball of the back foot, letting the back heel sink towards the mat. Palms together, float them down through heart center and come all the way forward, fingertips to mat. Set the hands and step back to downward facing dog. First downward facing dog, so perhaps taking a moment here to bend through the knees and then walk the dog if that feels like the kind of release you need for the backs of your legs. Keeping the integrity in the front body as you walk the dog, pressing away through the hands, nice long spine, and then perhaps coming to stillness in your dog and taking the right leg to the sky, three-legged dog, step the foot through, warrior two. Coming on up, starting to really step into your power now, warrior two, a pose for building and experiencing a calm determination. Just another breath here. And with your next exhale, moving through triangle pose, Trikonasana, bringing the right arm forward, left arm up to the sky, straightening through the front leg, heart is open, and finding your eye gaze either up to the sky, up to the side, or down to the floor. Reaching long and light through the arms. If there's anything that's not quite easy for you with the arm up to the sky, you can always take that top hand to hip, keeping the heart nice and open. Coming into Parsvakonasana now, side angle pose. Take a breath in and hinge up a little bit. Exhale, bend through the front knee, glide the right hand inside the leg a little bit, and maybe you come all the way to elbow inside front knee and arm out at right angles, forearm out at right angles. Perhaps you keep the top arm as it is, perhaps you take hand to hip, or it was already there, or you can sweep that top arm overhead, and I'm just going to sink my hips a little bit more there, making that side angle again. Choose your drishti, your eye gaze point. And one more breath. Then as you exhale, you can sweep the top arm forward or back, doesn't matter to me. Start to turn, take the hands down to the mat, pick the back toes, step yourself back to downward facing dog. Just for a breath. Eyes forward and walk to forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold. This time stepping left foot back. Coming into your lunge again. Crescent pose, high or low. And just another breath. Palms together, exhale, hands float through, coming on down. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Just a couple of breaths here. Refining perhaps your alignment, taking the tail nice and high, spine long. Left leg to the sky, three-legged dog. And step the foot through, warrior two. On this side now. Stepping the legs long, arms long and light. Looking along the front fingertips with that calm determination. Shoulders relax. And with your inhale, start to straighten through the front leg. Exhale, hinge yourself into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Making any modifications as you need. Perhaps finding a little more depth, or deciding that you've gone a little bit too far and you want to come out a little bit. Having a play along the way, seeing things, or trying different things is what I meant to say. All right, side angle pose. As you inhale, hinge up a little bit. Exhale, bend through front knee. Left hand glides inside, perhaps elbow comes inside front knee and resists against the knee. And then think about where you'd like to take your arm. Might come overhead, almost like you're swimming freestyle, and you might look back past your armpit. Just for another breath. And with your exhales, take the top arm down, other hand down, step yourself back to downward facing dog. Just for a breath or two. And then eyes forward and walk to forward fold. Halfway lift and fold. And either scoot the arms forward or reverse swan dive your way up, palms touch, hands come through heart center. Coming through again, building on that flow, scooping arms forward or wide, palms touch, folding forward, hinge from the hips. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Stepping right foot back, high or low crescent pose. Even if you've done high already this morning, you might choose low for this last round. It's up to you. Palms together, exhale, hinging forward. Hands to mat, step it back, downward facing dog. Just for a moment. Ease into your shape. And right leg to the sky. Pressing out through the heel, foot is flexed. Step it through. Coming to warrior two once more. Taking your stride and coming up into this really powerful pose. Warrior two. As you next inhale, straighten front leg and exhale your way into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Right hand comes down, left arm up to the sky or hand to hip. And feel your way. Do you have a little bit more room to deepen your pose? Is it right to do that? Or do you need to ease out? Or just stay as you are? Side angle pose now. Inhale, hinge up. Exhale, bend through front knee. Slide that right hand and arm down. Maybe coming all the way with elbow to knee. Or else just wherever you come to is fine. You might just have the hand inside the leg here. And perhaps sweeping that top arm overhead. Choosing where you'd like to gaze. Last breath. As you breathe in, this time rise up, windmilling up, and coming into goddess pose, turning the toes out. Maybe taking the arms to cactus, a breath in, and sinking the hips back, bending through the knees, perhaps adjusting the feet so that your knees are going in the direction of your feet, and coming down into this really powerful pose. Slow and deep breath, tall through the torso. Goddess pose, you've got this. And with your breath in, rising. And Taking the hands around perhaps to clasp behind, or you could leave hands on hips if you choose. Adjusting the feet so your pigeon toe coming into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. And inhaling tall, with your exhale starting to make your way forward, hinging through the hips, spine long, perhaps pausing at halfway or part way, taking another breath, and then melting a little more, just keeping the spine nice and long, so pausing whenever you feel that you're starting to round through the spine or the backs of the legs are telling you it's enough. If you've got the hands clasped behind you, you could start to take them away and once more as if you're going to flip them overhead, if you choose. Otherwise, you may feel more comfortable or more stable taking the hands to the mat. Just another breath here. And then you can start to bring the hands forward if you've got them sort of underneath you. And inhale, halfway lift, just extending through the arms, lifting the torso, bending through the knees. And start to crab walk your way back around to the front of your mat or the top of your mat. Stepping yourself back to downward facing dog. Remember, you can take a break anytime that you feel that's best. Just a little pause here in downward dog, and then bend the knees, step yourself forward, folding. Letting things melt towards the floor. Inhale, half lift. Exhale to fold and step your left foot back, crescent pose again, coming into your lunge, high or low. Strong and steady, palms together. Exhale to hinge forward. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Just a breath. Left leg to the sky now, three-legged dog, foot flexed. I know you can't see my foot, it's off the screen. Exhale, step the foot forward and find your warrior two. Last warrior two for the morning. Let's make it our strongest, steadiest, most determined warrior two. Shoulders and heart turned, reaching long and light through the fingertips. Triangle pose, take a breath in, straighten front leg, exhale, hinge into your Trikonasana, triangle pose. Long and light through the fingers and the top arm, long through the bottom arm. Modify if you need, top hand to hip might feel good. If there's any fatigue or restriction in the shoulder of the top arm. Take a breath in, hinge up a little bit, side angle pose, coming into your shape as you exhale, reaching long and light through the front fingers. Making sure the heart's open, perhaps looking back past your armpit to your back foot, or anywhere else that feels good. You could look down or straight out to the side. With your next inhale, start to rise. Coming into your goddess pose, adjusting the feet, toes turn out. Breathing in, grow tall. Exhale, hinge from the hips, sending it back. Finding your goddess pose. Let's take 3 more long, slow, deep breaths here. And then rising, finding where you'd like to take your hands for Prasarita Padottanasana, wide leg forward fold. I think I might swan dive my way down this time. Breathing in, taking the arms wide and tall, and exhaling the torso forward. And finding my hands, whoops, I forgot to adjust my feet, pigeon toe with the feet, and coming down towards the mat. And you might not come as deep as I am, you might come more deeply than I am, as long as you're where you need to be. Giving your brain a bath here, turning the world upside down, seeing things from a different perspective can be helpful when change is thrust upon us, particularly if it's not about choosing. Brain gets a bath. Just one more breath. And then you can inhale and halfway lift, straightening through the arms, bend at the knees and start to crab walk your way around to the front of your mat. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Maybe 3 breaths here. And then you can bring the knees down, either coming to Vajrasana if that's a comfortable position for you, Thunderbolt pose, with the hands resting on the thighs, or taking yourself to Child's pose if that's more comfortable. Knees could be wide or together, arms can be forward or beside you, or taken back through the legs, the knees are apart. Just taking a few moments here in your rest pose, whichever pose you've adopted. Checking in with the breath, the body, and just finding stillness whilst everything else happens around you. Last another 2 breaths here. And you can start to rise and come to find a seat, facing forward. Some forward folds now, which help with surrendering, letting go of the past and surrendering to what is or what is to be. Paschimottanasana, first up. If you do like to use support under the sit bones. You can use whatever you have, block, bolster, rolled up blanket or towel. If you don't have any of those things, you may want to take quite a bend in the knees to help you fold, especially if you need to take quite a lot of bend when you come from a standing position into a forward fold. So just see how it is for you. Feet flexed, and I'm going to use my hands to just lift up a little bit taller out of the earth. Take a deep breath in when you're ready, and exhale, start to hinge forward. Maybe the hands glide down the legs a little bit, and just using the breath to find length in the spine and that hinging forward from the hips. Head and neck in line with the spine. Perhaps able to take the hands around the feet, or even pistol grip the big toes. I find that keeping a bend in the elbows helps to keep the spine long rather than straight through the arms and finding a round spine. So bending through the elbows just helps keep me long. A little bend in my knees here. And with an inhale, rising. If you haven't already, you can always come out earlier. And bringing your right foot into the left thigh, adjusting any flesh that you have underneath you, and working to press that right knee out and down, keeping the left leg long and the toes engaged. Janu Shirshasana, it's another forward fold. Using the hands either side of you up on the fingertips, inhale, grow tall. Exhale, turn the torso towards the left, towards that long leg. Toes are engaged, press out through the heel. I'm going to adjust my hand to bring my right hand forward. Take another breath in, and exhale, coming to fold over that left leg. A little way, or maybe you have a little bit more. Keeping the sit bones grounded, spine long, bend in the elbows will help with that. And keeping your left foot flexed. This one is a little bit deeper. And with an inhale, rising. Stargazer if you like. So you can bring your right hand behind, perhaps up on the fingertips, and sweep your left arm to the right and start to come up through the knee and lift the hips away. Reaching up and over with that left arm, perhaps taking the head and the eyes back, starting to open up and welcome change, possibility, heart opening, invigorating. And with an exhale, you can sweep back down and through, just reversing out of that pose. And coming back to Paschimottanasana again, the one we began with, setting yourself up tall, and with an exhale, gliding forward, hinging through the hips. Maybe finding this pose a little more accessible the second time around, or perhaps not. Perhaps you found your range the first time around, and that's just fine too. One more breath. And come up on an inhale, spine long, heart lifted. And Janu Shirshasana on the other side, bend the left leg and bring the foot in to the right thigh. Perhaps move any flesh so the sit bones get a good connection with the earth. And take the fingertips to the mat. Inhale, grow tall. Exhale, turn the torso towards the right leg. Right foot is flexed. Left knee is aiming towards the floor. And inhale again, grow tall. Exhale, start to hinge over that right leg. Perhaps this side quite different from the first side. Differently accessible. Last breath. Inhale to rise. And stargazer if you like, taking the left hand behind up on the fingertips and sweeping the right arm across to the left. Opening up through the heart and reaching up and over. Open to possibility, to change. And with your exhale, reversing your way out of the pose. Coming back down, taking the leg out in front. And taking the legs to swing around. You can easily come down onto the back. And I have two alternatives for you here. Either coming up into bridge pose, which I'll demonstrate first, just in case anybody's not sure. Bringing the soles of the feet together, hip width apart with the soles of the feet, walking the legs back so that you can almost touch your heels with the back with your fingertips. And arms long beside the body, and then when you're ready to inhale, you can slowly start to lift through the hips by pressing through the feet. And once you're up, continue with the breath, slow and deep. Perhaps if the shoulders are good, taking one at a time to roll underneath, clasping the hands and taking the hands along the mat underneath you. Perhaps staying up for a few breaths or a bit longer if you're more practiced at bridge pose and feeling strong. Remembering to untuck the shoulders before you come down if they're tucked, and roll down. So you could stay with bridge pose, you could come up again, or if you would like, you could come to fish pose, which is a back bend, but it's also an inversion. If you can get high enough, it's an inversion because you get to take the head back and again give that brain a bath, change perspective, and perhaps gain some mental clarity. If you'd like to try fish pose, I'm just going to shuffle back so I hope you can see my feet just. You need to take the legs long and the feet together and point the toes. You take the arms along beside the body, a little bit out from the body though, so that you can, I'm just going to stand up to show you, you can hinge at the elbows. So we have our feet together and our toes pointed, and we hinge at the elbows to take the hands one at a time under the buttocks. So you'll be lying down with this formation. Coming down to the mat, resetting myself. And with the toes pointed, on a slow and deep breath in, start to press into the hands and the forearms and the elbows to lift the torso away from the floor, and you'll feel the heels glide along the mat. If you can get high enough, with an exhale, you can take your head back and hover the crown of the head above the mat. We're not resting down. It is a bit hard to talk here, but we're hovering. Keep with the breath. When you're ready to exit, if you have the head back, you need to start to tuck the chin and then roll down on an exhale. Whew. So a little bit invigorating and also helps prepare us emotionally for change, help us to be emotionally open to it. Whichever pose you're in, bridge pose or fish pose, carefully and safely start to make your way out, coming to Shavasana. If there's any movement you'd like to take before coming still into your Shavasana, you could do so, whether that's a little easy, gentle, flowing twist, windscreen wiper style, or knees and squeeze, giving yourself a hug, perhaps a gentle rock from side to side. You could do that. And then start to make your way into Shavasana, corpse pose, supporting the body with any props that make the shape more comfortable so that you can relax. And when I'm doing streamed relaxation, I do tend to just say something every minute or so, so that you can relax and you know that I'm still here. You can start to close your eyes if you haven't already, and let the body melt into the mat, soften and become heavier. The hard work's done. Now's the time where all the goodness of the practice soaks in to the whole of your being. Everything is brought together in this moment. And as you rest in Shavasana, whatever comes, let it come. What stays, let stay. And what goes, let go. Resting with awareness. Simply be. aware, awake, and relaxed. Body, breath and mind relaxed. Starting to gently allow awareness back into the body. Aware of the sensation of lying completely supported on the mat. Perhaps the body feels heavy or light, as if hovering above the mat, or somewhere in between. Just observe your experience and then move awareness back to the breath, noticing the naturally flowing breath. And start to allow yourself to become aware of sounds around you this morning, sounds of the world carrying on whilst you have been resting, all without judgment, simply observing the sounds as they are. And letting go of the sounds, consider how you'd like to start to invite movement back into the body where it will feel good to move gently, and start to slowly awaken the body. Might be with small movements through hands and feet, perhaps working your way up limbs, maybe to a full body stretch. Perhaps tucking in once more with knees drawn into chest, a gentle rock from side to side. That'll make it easier to roll through one side so that you can gently ease your way up from the mat, coming to find a forward facing seat. However you're comfortable, with the spine long, perhaps hands at heart center. And closing your eyes or lowering your gaze towards the floor. Closing this morning's practice with a single chant of the mantra Om. Like to join me wherever you are, please feel welcome. Exhaling, breathing in. Thank you for joining me this morning for practicing yoga. It's always a deep honor and a privilege to share yoga with you. Namaste. So wherever you are, I hope that you have a lovely day. I see Gay is here. Hi Gay, I saw you pop in, and thanks for being with me. If you've got any questions, you can certainly pop them into the chat or send me a message, and I'll see you again in mid-December for another practice. Have a great day and see you soon. Happy sailing if you're sailing. If you're sailing.